The Imperial Japanese Navy was a powerful force in the early 20th century. It played a key role in World War II. The Navy was known for its skilled sailors and advanced warships. Japan aimed to expand its influence in Asia and the Pacific. The Imperial Japanese Navy was crucial to this goal. The Navy's story is one of both triumph and tragedy. Early victories showcased its strength. However, the war ultimately ended in defeat for Japan. The Imperial Japanese Navy's actions had a profound impact on the course of the war. Japan's military leaders believed in their nation's destiny. They sought to establish a dominant presence in the Pacific. The Navy was central to their ambitions. This essay will explore the history of the Imperial Japanese Navy during World War II. It will examine its key battles, strategies, and eventual decline. In the early days of World War II, the Imperial Japanese Navy enjoyed a series of stunning victories. Their surprise attack on Pearl Harbor crippled the U.S. Pacific Fleet. This paved the way for further Japanese expansion. They conquered territories like the Philippines, Guam, and Wake Island. Japanese military planners had carefully studied their enemy's tactics. They developed innovative strategies that exploited their opponent's weaknesses. Their pilots were highly trained and skilled in aerial combat. Their ships were fast and well-armed, giving them an edge in naval engagements. These early successes emboldened Japan's leaders and fueled their belief in their ultimate victory. The victories also shocked the world, demonstrating the might of the Imperial Japanese Navy. However, the tide of war would eventually turn against Japan, as the Allies rallied their forces and countered Japan's initial advantage. On December 7, 1941, the Imperial Japanese Navy launched a surprise attack on Pearl Harbor, Hawaii. The attack aimed to cripple the U.S. Pacific Fleet and buy Japan time to solidify its position in Southeast Asia. The attack was a devastating blow to the United States. Over 350 Japanese aircraft, including bombers and torpedo planes, participated in the attack. They targeted the U.S. battleships moored at Pearl Harbor, sinking or damaging 8 of them. The attack also destroyed numerous aircraft and killed over 2,400 American servicemen. The attack on Pearl Harbor shocked the American public and galvanized support for war against Japan. President Franklin D. Roosevelt famously declared it a date which will live in infamy. The attack had the opposite effect of what Japan intended, uniting the American people and drawing the United States into World War II. The attack on Pearl Harbor remains a pivotal moment in history, marking the beginning of a long and bloody conflict in the Pacific. Following the attack on Pearl Harbor, the Imperial Japanese Navy continued its offensive operations. Japanese forces attacked the Philippines, a key U.S. territory in the Pacific. They also targeted British and Dutch colonies in Southeast Asia. Japanese forces quickly overwhelmed Allied defenses in the Philippines. They captured Manila, the capital city, and forced American and Filipino troops to retreat to the Bataan Peninsula. The Battle of Bataan became a symbol of Allied resistance, but ultimately ended in Japanese victory. Throughout 1942, the Imperial Japanese Navy enjoyed a string of victories. They captured strategic islands like Guam, Wake Island, and Singapore. These victories gave Japan control over vital shipping lanes and resources. However, the tide began to turn in mid-1942, with the Allied victory at the Battle of Midway. Section 5. The courage of the USS Edsall. Despite facing a formidable enemy in the Imperial Japanese Navy, Allied forces displayed remarkable courage and resilience throughout the Pacific War. The USS Edsall, a destroyer, exemplified this spirit in a fierce battle against overwhelming odds. On March 1, 1942, the USS Edsall was attacked by a powerful Japanese force, including 2 battleships and 2 heavy cruisers. Despite being vastly outgunned, the Edsall's crew fought bravely, utilizing their speed and maneuverability to evade enemy fire. For over 90 minutes, the Edsall dodged over 1,300 shells and launched torpedoes at the Japanese ships. Although the Edsall ultimately succumbed to relentless enemy fire, its valiant resistance demonstrated the tenacity and fighting spirit of the U.S. Navy. The USS Edsall's sacrifice was not in vain. It bought precious time for other Allied forces to regroup and prepare for future battles. Section 6. Key Figures, Masterminds and Leaders. The Pacific War involved numerous key figures on both sides of the conflict. Admiral Isoroku Yamamoto was the mastermind behind the attack on Pearl Harbor. A brilliant strategist, Yamamoto understood the risks of a prolonged war with the United States. Vice Admiral Chuichi Nagumo commanded the Japanese fleet that attacked Pearl Harbor. He also led the force that sank the USS Edsall. Nagumo was a capable tactician, but his cautious nature later drew criticism. On the Allied side, Admiral Chester W. Nimitz emerged as a key leader. Appointed Commander-in-Chief of the U.S. Pacific Fleet after Pearl Harbor, Nimitz oversaw the Navy's rebuilding and led it to victory in crucial battles like Midway. These leaders shaped the course of the Pacific War with their decisions and actions. Section 7. Turning the Tide. The decline of Japanese naval power. After a series of early victories, the Imperial Japanese Navy began to face setbacks. The Battle of Midway, fought in June 1942, proved to be a turning point in the Pacific War. American codebreakers deciphered Japanese plans, allowing the U.S. Navy to ambush the Japanese fleet. The Battle of Midway was a decisive victory for the United States. Japan lost 4 aircraft carriers, crippling its offensive capabilities. From this point onward, the United States gained the initiative in the Pacific. As the war progressed, Japan's industrial capacity proved insufficient to replace its losses. American shipbuilding outpaced Japan's, and the U.S. Navy grew stronger while the Japanese fleet dwindled. By 1944, the Imperial Japanese Navy was a shadow of its former self. Section 8. Legacy of War, the Price of Conflict. The Pacific War had a profound impact on all nations involved. Millions of soldiers and civilians perished in the fighting. The war left a legacy of destruction and suffering. For Japan, defeat brought about profound changes. The country was occupied by Allied forces, and its military was disbanded. Japan underwent a period of demilitarization and adopted a pacifist constitution. The United States emerged from the war as a global superpower. The conflict had tested the nation's resolve but also demonstrated its industrial and military might. The Pacific War serves as a reminder of the devastating consequences of conflict. Section 9. A wreck discovered, the USS Edsall in 2024. In 2024, the wreck of the USS Edsall was discovered in the depths of the Indian Ocean. The discovery was hailed as a significant moment in naval history. Using advanced sonar technology, researchers located the Edsall at a depth exceeding 18,000 feet. The discovery of the Edsall provides valuable insights into the ship's final battle and the sacrifices of its crew. It serves as a reminder of the bravery and resilience of those who fought in World War II. The wreckage of the Edsall stands as a testament to the courage of its crew and the enduring legacy of the Pacific War.